President Nixon is inaugurated for a second term. There's a ceasefire between the U.S. and Vietnam. Henry Kissinger is Secretary of State. And in that very same year, 1973, communication changed forever with one brief cell phone call to a rival inventor. A few years later, the revolutionary phone is advertised to the public.
Right now, businessmen and women are major users of radio telephones where cellular is in service. But more people will take advantage of cellular as its benefits become apparent. Eventually, seeing people using cellular phones may seem as commonplace as someone checking time on an electronic watch, figuring on an electronic calculator, or programming on an electronic computer.
My guest, Martin Cooper, made that very first public cell phone call on the mobile phone in 1973. And this year, he's headed to Italy to pick up the highest honor in the communications and information science field, the Marconi Prize. Martin Cooper, congratulations and welcome.
Thank you, Patty. It's a pleasure to be here.
I just have to say that this is the size of the phone right now. It's just incredible how much things have changed over the year. But back then, you were working over at Motorola, and they were pushing for this invention. What did it mean to you privately, personally?
Well, we were in a battle. We knew that the future was personal communications because we'd been embedded in that since World War II. And here, AT&T, the biggest company in the world, was introducing this new technology. They invented it, cellular, and it was going to be car telephones, and they were going to have a monopoly, and we didn't agree with either of those things. So we were in a battle. We had to get some attention. The cell phone was our way of doing it, and that's why I came up with that concept. You
won the battle, but you got paid exactly how much for that invention?
Well, when I joined the Motorola in 1954, they paid me $1 for all of my future intellectual property. It was the best deal I ever made, Patty, because Motorola really took care of me. They gave me the opportunity to spend 29 years doing what I had fun doing.
Let's talk about right now, because you're a forward-facing kind of inventor. How would you like to see this cell phone technology evolve?
Well, I think we're still in early stages now. We're still in what I call the Pong stage of technology. But as the technology evolves, we're about to engage in a couple of revolutions, perhaps three. One is in education. You were just talking with some educators. We are about to have the flipped classroom. And what does that mean? The children can learn now more because they're connected to the internet, to all of the information in the world continuously. They don't have to spend a couple of hours in the classroom. They can learn faster by themselves than teachers can do. So their learning is going to be out in the world, and they'll go to the classroom for a few hours a day, and that's where they get the guidance, a little bit of focus on what they ought to do. But that's going to be, children are going to be much smarter in the future.
They already are, I have to say. When it comes to what's going on among wireless carriers right now, I know there's a so-called spectrum crisis that they're saying we need more radio waves, we don't get enough. People are fighting for pieces of the pie to get their company on air. Do you see that we really are running out of radio airspace, wave space?
Well, we're running out. We haven't yet. There is no crisis now. It's obvious. People are watching television on cell phones. The problem is two things. Number one, the amount of information that we're putting with all of these new things, healthcare, education, and just collaboration. All those things are to demand more and more spectrum, and the carriers believe that they can get more, take spectrum away from other people. That's the wrong solution, because we're going to need 20 to 40 times more throughput, more bits per second, more information going through the radio waves in the next 5 years than we have today. And just a little bit of more spectrum is not going to solve the problem. Is
the solution then to invent another way to deliver this?
You got it. Would you like a job in technology, Patty? No, there is technology available today, but even though companies like Qualcomm here are really introducing spectacular new technology in the cell phone, the infrastructure, all those cell sites that you see around the city, still old-fashioned, and they have to upgrade that and adopt new technology there. Things like smart antennas that let more people talk on every radio channel. That is what is going to solve our problem, because the biggest problem is not the spectrum crunch, it's the cost.
Absolutely.
If we're going to do all of these things, education, healthcare, collaboration, the cost has to be much, much lower than it is today. But what is it the carriers are emphasizing? Speed. Now,
and you think it's more about money.
Oh, of course.
Of course it is. We are out of time. Martin Cooper, inventor of the cell phone, thank you so much for your insight and talking with us today.
Great pleasure to be here, Patty.